Oh, first cast. I'm having an evening session on the canal, by the way. The float just went, and just for a brief moment I had a fish on. That's encouraging though, isn't it? It is late in the evening because we're in the school holiday period and a lot of people staying at home as well instead of taking vacations abroad. Hence there will be a lot more traffic on the canal as far as boats are concerned, and I can see to my right all the way down there boats moored up for the evening, and hopefully that's where they all are so that I can have an hour. That's all I'm going to be here for, just a late hour up to dark, and see if I can catch some perch. However, if there are bream, roach, gudgeon, that's probably the species that are predominant on this particular stretch that I do catch, well, I won't be disappointed. Next cast, I do have a fish. It's a small roach. Don't need the disgorger on that one. I thought just for a moment I did. I can get the hook out of the mouth quite easily. Here it is. I've just put some new clothes on, and already I've got some slime on me off this fish. I'm getting another bite. I have the idea 3 casts in that there are fish out there already waiting to be caught, and indeed there are. It's another small roach, pretty much the same size as the first one, so I won't be showing too many of these. It's quite repetitive. They are shellfish, of course, so where there's one there's more, but also fish of that size will attract big perch. I'm not too far away from a lock, and I've heard the sound that you don't want to hear, the lock turning. Now there's some water gushing through. Well, boats do tend to keep going, don't they? Especially when it's a pleasant evening. That's why the winter, the cold weather, the rain does have its advantages. As far as canal fishing is concerned, of course, could be on a pool or a river, and the boat issue wouldn't be a problem. Not that I'm complaining though, of course, just saying, before the boat has even come through the locks, the water's slowed down now. They've let the water out and the locks are just opening. I've caught a perch, not a big one, but nevertheless a perch. The boat still hasn't come through, and I've got a better fish this time. I'm going to need the net. I think it could be a perch. Indeed it is. It's in the net, and I'll show you that in a moment or two. Boat's passing through now, you can probably hear it there, and I'll show you the fish. It's not as big as I thought. It certainly had a good pull on it, but as I've said so many times, you use the net anyway, don't you? It's kinder to the fish, plus you don't lose it when you lift it from the water. Sounds like a disco boat going through. The fish has been returned, and I'm going to cast out again. The opening of the lock has meant, well, there's obviously been grass cutting going on up there because there's loads of grass on the surface come through. In fact, it's going to make fishing quite difficult. Actually, the surface is covered. I'll show you that in a moment. Well, you'll see it on the screen. I'll add the video footage of that later. The boat's gone through. It's a family group, and the man on the boat got young kids on. He's got several young kids on there, about 3 or 4 young children, very young, and his language is awful. F, B, C, you know the words. They're all coming out there, and not even in anger as well, just in general conversation. Right, let's see if I can find a little spot between the grass to cast out. Oh, the grass hasn't put off the fish, I was just going to say. Neither has the swearing. However, I did have a hook pull. Still encouraging though, isn't it? And that's what I was saying about the boats earlier. It doesn't bother me. You don't have to get worried about boats coming through. Obviously at this set in the middle of the day, it can be a bit of an awkward fishing time. All this grass is getting worse than when I took that original footage that you've seen just now. However, good news is there is a gentle breeze blowing that way, so I'm hoping that in 10 minutes or so the grass has moved on. Oh, it's trying to cast through it. It's difficult. I'm going to have to bring the bait in a little bit closer than the boat channel where I've been fishing. So obviously the closer I can get to the side, the better. I'm still getting constant bites, and again I need the net for that one. It's a perch. It's not massive, but it's probably the biggest that I've had so far. Let me get the hook out. It's just inside, well, it's right on the edge actually of the mouth. That's where you want to hook them, really, perch, well, any fish. The disgorger is like a good insurance policy. You always need one, but you hope you don't use it. This is the only problem I've got. See that grass there around the shot, and then of course around the hook as well. It is, as I thought, making its way along, but there seems to be a certain amount that doesn't want to go any further. I'm doing my best to fish in between the patches of grass though, and it's working. I'm getting fish pretty much, or at least getting bites, pretty much every cast. So there are fish out there. They're feeding, like I'm getting now another little bite, a couple of dips on the float. And as I said just now, rather than going into the boat channel, I'm bringing it back somewhat so that it's easy. I don't have to cast out over too much grass. Just try and drop it in to the spots. I've definitely got a bite on there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, missed that one. I think that was a roach. They've all been perch since my initial few roach that I had when I arrived. The roach were there, the perch have moved in. The roach very wisely move on. But there'll always be one or two lurking around. It's like food, isn't it? They're hungry, they want to eat. There's food out there. Another fish on. I've been very, very busy this evening. And the wind direction changed slightly just now. And all the grass has been pushed into the far bank. It's not a big perch, just a small one. But as always, use the net for fish of this size. And there it is. Might need the disgorger on that one. It's just inside the mouth. A bream this time. I've been catching so many fish. Not everyone has made an appearance in front of the screen. This one will though, because it's the first bream of the evening, and maybe the last because I haven't got too long to go. I wonder if a gudgeon will put, oh, that's slimy down me there. I'm gonna have to mop that off in a moment. Oh, I'll tell you what, you've seen it. Let's get it back. I mentioned earlier about the boats that are moored up down there, quite a few of them. I can see for a good 300 meters along there. It's quite a straight section of canal. And the sweary man has gone right down there. He's obviously found a spot in between the boats. I could hear him knocking the pegs in earlier, and now he's playing his music. It's so loud I can hear it right down here. And I'm thinking, those poor people down there, they've moored up for the night. They think they've got a nice quiet spot in the countryside, and they'll no doubt have that music until the early hours of the morning. That's how it sounds anyway. When he came past, he was quite loud, and the music was going then, and it's still going strong now. Do you like singing? I do. I'm not a good singer, by the way, but I sing a lot. Sing in the car with my music, sing to myself, and for some reason I'm singing the Monkees. I'm a believer. I don't know where that's come from, because on the journey in and likewise back home, I've got a David Ruffin album on in the car. So the Monkees and David Ruffin, poles apart. But for some reason, that song has been going around my head, and I found myself singing along with it. I've got probably another 15 minutes now. I'm continuing to catch fish. It's great. Even now while I talk, the float's moving across. That will be dipping shortly. I'll tell you what, there's the movement on the canal. There could even be a late boat, very late boat coming through. Well, I'll be gone anyway in due course. But will the float go? Let me just pull into that one. No, it's not. Will I get a gudgeon? I've had loads of perch, a couple of bream, and numerous roach. Will anything significant turn up though in the dying minutes of this session? Let's see, shall we? I've mentioned slime a couple of times so far this session. The final fish before I go home, and they don't get more slimy than this, do they? It's an eel. Well, it will be. Well, it is an eel, but it will be visible in due course. Right, let's try and hold it properly. This is going to be a difficult one. So look, there you go. Oh. Oh, I think this could be longer than the video. I'll tell you what, let me just put that back in the water. Need to clean it off a little. That might be as good as it gets.